Hello, and welcome back for another empowerment exchange. And today we are going to be talking about something that we all struggle with, even me. As a life and empowerment coach, I still struggle with limiting beliefs. So I'm going to make something available to you at the very end of our conversation today and our exchange today. And it's going to be the 10 questions to help you identify your limiting beliefs. And I want to talk with you about it today because I believe that what we believe in here, what rents space in here, is literally what allows us to be successful, happy, living in abundance versus scared, feeling defeated, feeling isolated. So, a lot of what we learn was established really early in our life. And during the first 6 or so years of our life, we soak up every single thing that we hear, and our young brains believe it to be true. The things our parents say, the things that we hear our siblings say, our friends, our teachers. When we are really young, we assume that everything that is being said to us around us is the truth, right? Why? We don't know any reason why we would doubt that. We don't know any reason why to think different. And during these years, we develop our most powerful and often our most life limiting beliefs, and a lot of them have a tendency to stick with us for the rest of our lives until we start to test them, until we start to challenge them, and until we get to points in our life where we're like, is that really true? So, all the information that we receive is held in our subconscious, and it's there to keep us safe. It's how we learn that the stove is hot because it burned our hand, or we know to look both ways crossing the street because our parents drilled that home in our heads when we were little every single day. However, some of these beliefs hold us back in life, and they keep us in a constant state of fear and ignorance. Here's some typical limiting beliefs that you may even suffer from, because I know I have. I can't do this because I don't deserve that, because if I do this, something really bad's going to happen. Or I can't do this because of what people are going to think. Now, I'm sure that those statements sound pretty familiar because I've used them a lot in my life. And I know I've probably said them on more occasions than I'd really like to, to recognize. But so, what do we do now, right? Here are some questions that you can ask yourself that will help you dig deeper into your subconscious and identify your limiting beliefs. And there are 10 questions that are available. I'm only going to share 4 with you today just because of the amount of time. I don't want to keep you here all afternoon, but I do want to make this available to you as well. So at the very end, you will have the ability to download this and then just read it. I just encourage you to read it. Okay. There are questions that you can ask yourself to find out really what you're struggling with. Because in a lot of cases, when I start working with clients and in that space, in the limiting belief space, we start to challenge those beliefs. And when you start to challenge things in your life, you then are sitting there going, well, yeah, geez, you know what? All of these years I went by thinking one thing, but I never challenged it because of where it came from, because of its origination story, right? Mom said it, dad said it, brother said it, aunt said it, uncle, pastor said it, or teacher said it. We don't challenge them because we trust the people and we trust the words of the people coming at us. So, first thing I want to ask you, first question is, what belief has held you back the most? It might be hard to identify all of your limiting beliefs, but we can all pinpoint at least one belief that has held us back throughout our lives. It may not be obvious in the moment, but if you look back on things that you've done or not done, we can usually pinpoint what it is. Maybe you didn't apply for that job you wanted because you didn't think you were smart enough, or that trip around the world you wanted and you never took because you didn't think that was responsible. And instead of taking a gap year, a year off, you went right into college instead. Or maybe you missed out on asking your future wife on a date because you knew she was, quote unquote, out of your league. Or in this case, maybe you missed out on asking your future husband, um, on a date because you felt he was out of your league. Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that person is out of your league? Why did you believe that it wasn't responsible for you to take a trip instead of going right into school? Why did you not apply for a job? Because you thought you weren't smart enough. Why? Who told you that? Why do you believe this? Now that we've identified maybe what our biggest limiting belief is, ask yourself the question until you run out of answers. Maybe something happened to you when you were a kid. Maybe something happened to you last week or last month or a year ago when you were married to someone that you're no longer married to. Maybe you've just never been told that it's okay to go and do what it is that's in your mind or on your heart to do. Maybe you've never given yourself permission to go and do that. Write down every answer that you come up with so you don't forget them. So, why do you believe that you can't do A, B, and C? The third question, what evidence proves your belief wrong? Most beliefs are just that, beliefs. Beliefs and facts are two very different things. Snow is cold, right? We know that. Why do we know that? Because we can feel it. We can touch it. The stove is hot when it's on. Why do we know that? Because if we put our hand on there, we're going to get burned. There's no debate to that fact because it can be measured, right? Snow is cold. A stove that's on is hot. The fact that you believe you aren't smart enough for that job is subjective and just your opinion, or maybe the opinion of somebody who was chewing in your ear for a little while. There's no way to prove it with 100% certainty that you are not smart enough for that job. If you look hard enough, I'm sure you can find someone not as smart as you doing exactly what you want to do. The only thing stopping you is your belief in yourself. And I can honestly say that I've pivoted into coaching over the past few years, and I look at some of these people who are my mentors and people that are just out there and super successful and changing the world and just living in their intention, and like I am completely overwhelmed and in awe of all that they've done. But I look at some of them and I'm like, they can do it. I certainly can do it. So if you look around, you can find that there are people that are living in your life or that are living the life you want to live. And you can just look at them and say, well, certainly if they can do it, why can't I do it? Why not me? Why not now? Right? So you're figuring out what your limiting belief is. Number one is, what belief has held you back the most? Number two, why do you believe this? Number three, what evidence proves you wrong? And we've already established that the only thing stopping you is your belief in you. The fourth question I'm going to ask you today is, what have you missed out on in your life because of that belief? Sticking to the job example that I shared, how different would your life be right now if you had applied for that job that you didn't think you were smart enough for, or you didn't think you were qualified enough for? Now, granted, there are jobs that have certain qualifications, right? I'm a life coach. I can't go in and say, I want to be a heart surgeon. I don't have the skills and I don't have the stomach. Okay. So let's just be honest. So there are obvious reasons why certain jobs you cannot get, okay, unless you have the skill set for it. But sticking to that job, if you had applied for that job that it was in your wheelhouse, you were qualified for, you just felt like you weren't smart enough, how different would your life have been if you had applied for that job and you would have gotten it? Your life would most likely be at least a little different, if not completely different. Even if you applied and didn't get it, you could have learned something valuable from the person that was interviewing you. If nothing else, you would have learned that it's okay to try and to fail. Well, this PDF that I'm making available for you has 10 questions. I'm going to give you a highlight of what the rest of the questions are, just so that you know, because I really highly encourage you to get this free guide, this free PDF, because it is an area that we are all struggling with, and that is limiting beliefs. So the next question, the first three, let me just bring this over here for you. The first three were, what belief has held you back the most? Why do you believe this? What evidence proves your belief wrong? Number 4 is where we ended. What have you missed out on in life because of your belief? Number 5, is there any truth in your belief? Number 6, question its impact. Number 7, what are you afraid of? Number 8, how are you contributing? Number 9, what would you have to give up if you overcame this belief? Number 10, what would you gain if you overcame this belief? And I want you to ask yourself these questions as we start dipping our toe into the water of limiting beliefs, because I'm going to continue to talk about them. Ask yourself these questions whenever you find yourself thinking, I can't, or I shouldn't, or I don't deserve it. And make sure that that thought is the reality and not just a limiting belief that is holding you back. So, as we wrap up today, I want you to just take some time and really think about the things in your life that are going on and think of those beliefs that may be standing in front of the life that you want or standing in your way of your true destiny. And we're going to continue to talk about limiting beliefs. I actually have a brand new program that came out that's really going to help you shift your limiting beliefs and just crush through them. And I'm going to be talking more about that as the days go on. But make sure you download this guide today on 10 questions to ask yourself if you are experiencing limiting beliefs. And I will be back again next week. But as you listen to this and as you ask yourself these questions, share with me what belief has held you back the most. I want to know that. Because I can tell you for myself, the belief that I had was that I didn't deserve it. And once I gave myself permission, once I questioned that I didn't deserve it, my life changed. And the life that I have now, the job that I do, it's not even a job. It's what I get blessed to have the opportunity to do every day. All that changed when I shifted out of that belief and I broke through it because I knew, you know what? I do deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve to have an extraordinary, epic life. Sometimes we just have to get out of our own way. So make sure when you download this, you ask yourself your 10 questions. Let me know what belief in your life has held you back the most and what you plan on doing about it. I'll be back to see you again.